Hello everyone and welcome back to your favorite ma'am. So today the session is going to be amazing as we are going to take up a science lesson for class 7th. The name is Respiration in Organisms. So in today's video we will be studying the chapter in complete detail. So now without wasting another minute, let's start with the chapter. So in this video we will learn about respiratory systems in humans and all the organs that are part of the respiratory system. What are the types of respirations like aerobic and anaerobic respiration? What is breathing and how does it differ from respiration? And respiratory systems in animals as well as plants. So let's start with why do we respire? We respire to get energy from food. Food contains stored energy. So when we respire, this food is broken down in the cells of our body with the help of oxygen and energy is released. So the air we breathe in is transported to our whole body and then to each cell of our body, where the oxygen in the air helps to break down the food. This process of breakdown of food in the cell with the release of energy is called cellular respiration, which takes place in the cells of all organisms. So at the cellular level, the food or glucose is broken down into carbon dioxide and water using oxygen. So this breakdown, when uses oxygen, it is called aerobic respiration. However, sometimes glucose is also broken down without using oxygen. This is called anaerobic respiration. For example, during heavy exercise or while playing, the demand for energy is high, but the supply of oxygen is limited. So our body produces energy through anaerobic respirations that happens inside the muscle cells, where glucose is broken down into lactic acid and energy. Then our body gets the required energy from anaerobic respiration. But as a result, sometimes the cramps occurs when our body respires anaerobically because of the accumulation of lactic acid. So we can get relief from these after a hot bath or massage as they improve circulation of blood and provide oxygen to those muscles which then later break this lactic acid into carbon dioxide and water. So now let's learn about respirations in humans. The respiratory system is the network of organs that help us to breathe. The air enters our body through the nose and mouth from outside. Then the air goes into trachea, also known as windpipe, and through its branches into lungs. In the lungs, there are further division into smaller and smaller branches, and the last branch contains air sacs called alveoli. There are blood vessels present around the alveoli. So when the inhaled air reaches the alveoli, exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide takes place. The oxygen in the blood vessel is then carried to all parts of the body and the carbon dioxide collected is then removed from the body. This process of movement is done with the help of an organ called diaphragm. So when the diaphragm moves down, the air from the outside comes in and fills in the lung. And when the diaphragm moves upwards, the air is pushed out of the lungs. So what is breathing? Breathing is the physical process which moves air in and out of the lungs. It allows oxygen to move into the body through lungs of mammals while carbon dioxide moves out. Breathing in lungs occurs by inhalation, that is breathing in, and exhalation, that is breathing out. Both inhalation and exhalation are regulated by the action of diaphragm. So during inhalation, the diaphragm contracts and moves downwards, which increases the space in the chest cavity, pulling the rib cage upwards and outwards. While during exhalation, the diaphragm relaxes, moves upwards, and carbon dioxide rich air is then forced out from the lungs in the process. Breathing rate is one of the main vital signs of the human body. It is the number of breaths taken per minute. So the normal breathing rate for adults is 12 to 16 breaths per minute. However, when you exercise and your muscles work harder, your body uses more oxygen and produces more carbon dioxide. To cope up with this extra demand, your breathing increases up to about 40 to 60 times per minute. At any point, you can get an idea of your heartbeat also by multiplying your breathing rate by 4. Now let's see what respiration is. Respiration is a process that occurs in all organisms. It is a biochemical process that occurs within the cells of organisms, and in this process energy is obtained by combining oxygen and glucose, resulting in the release of carbon dioxide, water and energy. So how is breathing different from respiration? In breathing, fresh air is sent to the lungs while removing carbon dioxide from the body, and in respiration, glucose is used to release energy. Breathing is a physical process that removes carbon dioxide, while respiration is a biochemical process that produces carbon dioxide. Breathing as well as respiration, they both takes place all the time. However, breathing takes place in the lungs, while respiration takes place in every cell. Breathing uses energy, while respiration releases energy. Breathing is a voluntary action, while respiration is an involuntary action. Now you must be wondering how other organisms breathe. Like, do they have lungs like those of humans? And what is their breathing mechanism? While there are some animals like elephants and lions that have lungs in the chest cavity, while some breathe through their gills. So let's take up some animals one by one and talk about their respiratory systems. Now let's talk about respiratory system in cockroach. A cockroach has small openings on the side of its body. These openings are called spiracles. Insects like cockroach have network of air tube called trachea for gas exchange. So when they breathe, oxygen-rich air rushes through the spiracle into the trachea tube and then diffuses into the whole body, reaching every cell. Similarly, the carbon dioxide goes into trachea tube and then moves out through the spiracles, completing the respiratory process. Earthworms, on the other hand, do not have lungs or gills, and they mostly breathe through their skin. As the skin of an earthworm is moist and slimy, gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide can easily pass through them by diffusion. So have you ever wondered how the organisms like fish that live underwater breathe? See, most fishes exchange the oxygen dissolved in the water and carbon dioxide by means of an organ called gills, which is located on the either side of their head. Gills consist of flesh filaments filled with blood vessels, which gives it a bright red color. So when fishes breathe, water is taken in continuously through the mouth and passed backward through the gills, where exchange of gases takes place. The dissolved oxygen is then taken inside the body to each and every cell, and excess carbon dioxide is given up to the water. Did you know that frogs breathe by two different methods, on land and in water? In water, their moist skin serves as their breathing organ. So they use their skin to absorb oxygen when underwater. But if there is not enough oxygen in the water, they will drown. And on land, a frog may also breathe much like a human by taking in air through the nostrils and down into their lungs. Now let's talk about respiratory system in whales and dolphins. Whales and dolphins are mammals and breathe air into their lungs, just like we do. So unlike fish who can breathe through their gills, whales and dolphins cannot breathe underwater as they do not have gills. So they must make frequent trips to the surface of the water to catch a breath through nostrils called a blowhole located right on top of their head that acts as a nose, making it easy for them to surface for air. You know that all living organisms respire in order to release energy from food. Plants are no exception. So just as animal cells respire, plant cells too. If they stop respiring, they will die. And plants do not leave a respiratory system because roots, stem, leaves of plants exchange gases for respiration separately. Let's study them in detail. In plants, the respiration occurs with the help of roots and leaves. So in soil, oxygenated air is already present in spaces between soil particles. This oxygen is then absorbed into the roots with the help of root hair present on the roots. So from root hairs, oxygen is transported to all the parts of roots for respiration. During respiration process, oxygen is then transformed into carbon dioxide, which is then transported in the opposite direction, that is out of the roots, by the same root hair which has completed the respiration process of the roots. In the leaves, exchange of respiratory gases occurs through very small pores called stomata, which are present in big numbers on the lower side of the leaves of plant. Every stoma has a tiny opening at its center, which is enclosed and regulated by two kidney-shaped cells known as guard cells. So when the stoma opens, the exchange of gases occurs between the atmosphere and the interior of the leaf by the method of diffusion, and that completes the process of respiration in leaves. Now with this, we have reached the end of this video as well as this chapter. I hope you were able to understand the types of respiration in different types of organisms. So if you have any doubt, don't hesitate to leave a comment and I'll surely get back to you. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe and share with your friends. This is your favorite ma'am signing off until next time. Bye for now.